let's do a third video on functions, long questions from starting from questions 1. Okay, now the first function f of x is given as x square plus 1 and g of x is given as 5 minus x. So the first part is f of 3. So you are supposed to find f of 3. Now in place of x it is 3. So in place of x you have to substitute 3. So 3 whole square plus 1. So this is 9 plus 1. So f of 3 is 9, 10. Okay, so look at this second part. A part is this. The B part. Find the expression of g of f of x. Now g is, look at the innermost function first. So g of innermost function is x square plus 1. Now g of x is 5 minus x. So take this entire thing and place in substitute in the place of x. So 5 minus x square plus 1. So this becomes 5 minus x square minus 1. So which is 4 minus x square. So this is B. Now let's go to the C part of the question. Now find the geometric relation between y f of x and y f inverse of x. Now inverse, the function and inverse are always reflected on the line x is equal to y line. If this is a function, the inverse will be something like this down. So it is always reflected across x equal to y. So reflection across the line x equal to y or y is equal to x line. Now let's go to the D question. Find the expression of f inverse of x. Now f of x you know to be x square plus 1. So x in f inverse will be, take this as y, x square plus 1 make subject to x. So y minus 1 is equal to x square. So x is equal to square root of y minus 1. Now interchange x and y and substitute x as f inverse of x. So f inverse of x is equal to square root of x minus 1. This is f inverse of x. Next part of the question. Find the range of f inverse of x. So range of f inverse of x. Now the x value is supposed to be greater than 3. So all the possible output will always be greater than 3. Okay. So x should be greater than 1, but because the value of x is greater than 3, the input in this case is greater than 3. So in the range, the domain is the range for this. So x is greater than 3 will be the answer. X is greater than 3. Now, so domain is f of 3 is x square plus 1. So the domain of this function will be the domain of this will be the range of this function. What is the range? When x is 3, x is always greater than 3. So when x was 3, we got x square plus 1, which was 10, which we got here. So always the domain of this function will be the range of this function, the first function. So range was getting 10 and more. So our range domain will be y is greater than 10. So that will be our domain. Next, let us go to the second question. Now f of x is given to be 2x plus 1. G of x is given to be x plus 3 divided by x minus 1. Now find and simplify f of 7. So 2 into 7, 14 plus 1, 15. Now second part, a range of f of x. So f of x is this 2x plus 1. They already told, nothing is told about. So range of f of x can be anywhere between minus infinity to plus infinity. So we'll write it as set of real numbers r. So range is set of real numbers r. Then third one, f of g of x, f of g of x. So write the innermost function in this way. So f of g of x is this entire thing. F is this, f of x is this. So in place of x, we have to put this entire thing now. So 2 into the entire thing. So simplify this. So 2x plus 6 plus x minus 1. So this is the f of g of x. So let it be. Next part. F of x. So f of x is 2x plus 1. So in place of the innermost function, you write 2x plus 1. Now f of x is 2x plus 1. In place of x, you have to write this entire thing. So 2 into 2x plus 1 plus 1. So you have 4x plus 2 plus 1. 4x plus 3. Explain why f of x does not exist. So g function happens to be, let us write in that form. G of f of x. Now the innermost function, which is 2x minus, what is f of x? 2x plus 1. So 2x plus 1, and g of x function was x plus 3 and x minus 1. So x plus 3 and x minus 1. In place of x, you have to write 2x plus 1 plus 3 divided by 2x plus 1 minus 1. So this can become 2x plus 4 whole thing divided by 2x. So if you take out this 2 common, you have x plus 2 divided by 2x. So 2 gets cancelled. Now in f of x function, the function of x can take any value. The function of x can take any value. So therefore, if x takes the value of 0, if x is 0, g of f of x will be infinity. So that doesn't form, that doesn't exist. Therefore, g of f of x does not exist. Next. Now form g inverse of x. G of x is x plus 3 divided by x minus 1. So g is y is equal to x plus 3 divided by x minus 1. So we'll take this here, take x on side. So x is equal to y plus 3 divided by y minus 1. So this is a f inverse of x. So x plus 3 divided by x minus 1. This is a f inverse of x. So which is same as the original function. Next, state the domain of g inverse of x. Now g function happens to be, domain is nothing but the range of this. So in the range of this, we were getting y is equal to 1 was not possible. So y is equal to 1 is not possible in this. So the domain is not 1. Okay. The range of g inverse of x will also be the same thing, where x is not equal to 1. Next question. Now, now f of x is given by this. Now we have to make it in this form. So we need to remember that x plus e the whole square is x square plus 2ax plus a square. Now compare the first two terms with the first two terms here. So x square is x square, 2a is 4. So 2a happens to be 4, so a happens to be 2. And in this there is a third term which is a square. So we have to bring that and subtract that. So it is x square plus 2 into 2 into 2x plus we are bringing a square which is 2 square. We are subtracting that 2 square plus 9. So the first three terms become x plus 2 the whole square plus minus 4 plus this. So it is plus 5. So f of x is this way. Now compare this with y is equal to x minus a plus b. Now this is a function where a comma b is the vertex. A comma b is the vertex. Okay, now a happens to be minus 2 and b happens to be plus 5. We'll use that now. Sketch the graph. Now x, the vertex is minus 2 and 5. So minus 2 and 5. So this vertex is at this place. Now when x is 0, when x is 0, when x is 0 on this line, y happens to be 9. So I'll mark the point 9. So this is one point and this is point. This is a turning point. So from the curve goes through this, goes through this 9, touches this point and turns around. So this is a quadratic curve. It's a smooth curve. So passes through this. So this is your curve. Then now state the range of the f of x. Now f of x, the range happens to be 5 and above. So it is 5 and above. So 5 to infinity we can write. So 5 is included whereas infinity is not included. So the C part. So domain of f of x, sorry, range of f of x is 5 to infinity. Then g of x is given to be e to the power of x. So e to the power of x is always a curve, something which goes like this. So for g of x, the range happens to be 0 to infinity, where 0 is also not included, infinity is also not included. Then next, hence otherwise find the range of this function. Now in place of x, they are putting e to the power x. In place of x in this question, they are substituting it as e to the power x. So e to the power 2x plus 4 e to the power x plus 9. So this is your function y. Now the minimum value from this equation is 9. So the value is always greater than 9 and above. So the curve will be something like this. From 9 only it will go up and go up like this. So therefore the range is 9 and above. And 9 is also not included in this. Then let's do the next fourth question. Now fourth question is 2x plus 3 into y 4 minus y equals to 12. So we have to convert this equation in terms of this. So it in terms of y. So we keep this and take this term on the other side. So 4 minus y is equal to 12 divided by 2x plus 3. So now we want to make it subject to y, so we'll take this y on this side and 12 this entire fraction on this side, on the other side. So you have 4 minus 12 divided by 2x plus 3 equals to minus y on the other side is plus y. So solve this. So 8x plus 12 minus 12 divided by 2x plus 3, which is equal to y. So this 12 one cancels. So I have 8x divided by 2x plus 3 is equal to your y. This is what you have to show. Now sketch the graph. Now sketch the graph y against x. So let us figure out the vertical asymptote and horizontal asymptote first. Now the horizontal asymptote is when the denominator is, sorry, vertical asymptote is when the denominator is 0. So denominator is 0 at minus 3 by 2. Minus 3 by 2 is this point, 1.5 somewhere here. Straight line. So at this place you have vertical asymptote. Horizontal asymptote is coefficient of numerator x divided by coefficient of denominator x, which happens to be 4. So the horizontal asymptote is on the through this line. So this is your horizontal asymptote. Now when x is 0, when x is 0, numerator is 0, y is also 0. When y is 0, x is also 0 again. So the curve goes through like this. And on the other side the same way. So this happens to be your curve. Next, C part of the question. C part says g of x is equal to 2x plus k and h of x equal to this function 8x divided by 2x plus 3. Now h of g of x. So innermost function is g of x. So h of 2x plus k. Now take this and substitute in the place of x. So 8 into 2x plus k divided by 2 into 2x plus k plus 3 is your h of g of x. Open this. So I have 16x plus 8k divided by 4x plus 2k plus 3. So this is your h of g of x. Write down the asymptotes of the graph y minus h of g of x. So y is this function. Y minus this. So y happens to be 8x divided by 2x plus 3 minus this entire thing. So cross multiply. So simplify this. You have 32x square plus 16k plus 24x minus 1632 x square minus 48x minus 16kx minus 24k, and by keep it as it is. So let us see anything gets cancelled. So this x square and this x square gets cancelled. 8 into this is kx is 24x. So now 8kx, 16kx, and 16kx get cancelled. 42, 24x, and this can be written as minus 24x minus 24k divided by 2x plus 3 into 4x plus 2k plus 3. Now minus 24 you take out, so you have x plus k whole thing divided by this entire thing. This is the function. Now show that k equal to 9 by 2 is self inverse of each other. Okay, we'll wind up here.